All right, everyone, welcome back to another FIFA World Cup 2026 group stage prediction. Here we have Group E that features Ecuador, Germany, Ivory Coast, and Curaçao. So to begin with, our first opponent, our European favorites, Germany in this group at least. Um, when you look back at their last two World Cups, they were eliminated with losses to South Korea and Mexico, and they only beat Sweden. In Qatar, they basically were joint. I mean, they were third place with 4 points between Spain and Germany, and because Spain beat Costa Rica by a lot more, they advanced. They got lucky. Japan were the heroes of that group, and they basically never made it to knockouts after 2014. So it's been 12 years, and I think Germany are looking to end that. But it's not just Germany. Ecuador in the last World Cup were a solid 4 point side, but there was no best third. And Senegal and Netherlands finished higher than they did. They lost to Senegal, but they beat Qatar, and I think they tied they tied Netherlands. They did not have an unsuccessful run, just a bit unlucky because you have to look at the nature of the group and the competition that these teams are against. Getting a point against a big side is very key. Um, if we go with the logic that like they beat Qatar and they beat Qatar and they tied Netherlands, you would actually say a tie against Germany makes sense, and a 2-0 win against Curaçao also makes sense. But Senegal and Ivory Coast is weaker than Senegal, so they are the ones that win 1-1. Yeah, but we're gonna do predictions after the overview. So Ivory Coast also have not had much success. A lot of people giving dark horse predictions. This team needs to at least accomplish getting out of the group first. So, the likes of Edingra Kessié, they won the AFCON before this one. They got knocked out by Egypt recently, so they've kind of slumped down. But Ivory Coast is a side that, has what it takes to potentially scrape a point off Germany and Ecuador. And this is a type of group stage where both first, second, and third place have an uncertainty on it because, as we said, Germany also have not made it out. Ecuador haven't, Ivory Coast haven't either. And with the best third option in the competitiveness of the group, all three of them are going to go through. But where they each finish respectively is what we're going to be trying to predict here. And Curacao, honestly, hard luck to them. Hard luck to them. Unless they come and, you know, put up a better fight against Ecuador, Ivory Coast than you'd expect. They are not going to even get a single point, let alone 3 points. Uh, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Match day one. Germany against Curacao. I think Germany's just going to batter them 5-0 and get off to a great head start. That doesn't mean they're going to finish well, but good head start. Ivory Coast and Ecuador. Uh, I mean, with the likes of Pacho and Campie, the duo in the defensive department that are in the Champions League final, I truly think that Ivory Coast is gonna struggle a bit. I mean, Adingra is a very common name. I think they can kind of trouble the defense. But you got Ener Valencia looking to add to his tally. You got Moises Caicedo, Hincampi, Pacho. I cannot see. Yeah, I mean, there's also a Estupinian on this team. I cannot see Ecuador concede too much. I think they will still have the edge here. So I think they're going to be Ivory Coast 2-1. Now, Ivory Coast will follow their really, really good luck into the next match and get a comfortable 2-0 victory against Curaçao. They won't get battered like they did by Germany, but they're definitely not beating Ecuador either. Uh, Germany Ivory Coast is a very important match because it changes the complexion of the group. I think I think they should be able to beat Ivory Coast, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that I'm gonna go ahead and say that this one is either draw or upset for Ivory Coast. I think they kind of lose that momentum that they had in the beginning. It depends on this match though. I mean, what if we say Germany beats Ecuador? You know, small change in the outcome, and you see these sides sharing points because of how close this is. Especially when one side gets 0 points, they all tend to give away the same 3 points to the other three sides, and that's why this kind of pattern occurs. I'm gonna go ahead and say a 1-1 draw between Germany and Ivory Coast. So in the final match, it's a must-win uh, for for both Ivory Coast and Curaçao. I mean, Curaçao has nothing to lose, so I think they might go 1-0 up, but then Ivory Coast will come back to win it 2-1 and get the 3 points. They get the key 1 point here and one 3 point here, and they get 4 points. Ecuador, Germany. I want to go ahead and say, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I just can't see Ecuador not get 9 points. And I know 9 points is an insane prediction, but they're definitely gonna concede, but I think they're gonna shock Germany. Um, yeah, I don't think no, I think we're gonna keep this. I'm gonna go ahead and say a 2-2 draw. Okay. So the final standing is Ecuador wins the group with 7 points, Germany at second with 5 points, Ivory Coast at a strong best third, the third exact best third as we see here in the third place rankings. I'm not showing it yet, but that's what it says. And Curacao, the real uh, losers of the group with 0 points. So they all go through. Ecuador, Germany, and a more not necessarily favorable. You could get favorable Morale as third, but Ecuador, Germany are the first two, and then Ivory Coast is the best third. So that is it. Comment what you think. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned in for more videos. Thank you guys for watching.